Hello and welcome back to another video, and thank you as always for watching. Apologies for looking even more like a hobo than I normally do. My excuse is I'm working from home at the minute, so YouTube isn't my full-time job. It might come as a surprise to some of you, but yeah, that's my excuse anyway. But anyway, let's get into the video, and today we're going to be talking about what's next for Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously he's coming off a very tricky season, did get a race win, which is incredible, but apart from that, it was a pretty lackluster season, getting pretty much outperformed by his teammate. And even in Monza with his race win, Lando was ridiculously on his gearbox and probably could have put up a fight. He asked if he could attack, and McLaren said no. So that pretty much put the end to that one. Not taking anything away from that win though, because that was still an incredible drive. But yeah, over the whole season, definitely outperformed by Lando Norris, and it seemed to, well, Daniel was very vocal about the fact that he struggled to get to grips with the car in the same way that Lando Norris did, and that proved difficult for him across the whole season. And that brings me on to next year, because obviously we're having completely different rules next year, so everyone, including his teammate Lando Norris, will be in the same boat where they have to adapt to a new car. And from the looks of it, these cars are going to handle and drive and perform incredibly differently to the cars this year. So that brings me on, because Daniel Ricciardo is such an incredible racer. I think, go back 5 years, maybe even more, when he joined Red Bull and pretty much annihilated Vettel. Everyone was thinking, yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, he's going to be a future world champion. So obviously it hasn't quite worked out his way. He decided to leave Red Bull, probably a good decision, because as we can see nowadays, that is a team that is built around Max Verstappen. So it turns out that was probably the right decision for him. But he's landed a pretty good seat at McLaren. McLaren are not doing bad up until, I think it was towards the end of the season. They were the third best team, and they just seemed to fall off a cliff right at the end. So it depends what McLaren can bring next year for their car. But the main thing is whether or not, because I think all the cars are going to be closer next year. I think all the cars are going to be closer, and I just really am excited to see whether Ricciardo can adapt to a new car as quickly as Lando Norris. Obviously, Lando being the young, fresh-faced, and also he does so much online racing as well in various different cars, which I know people will say is probably not. But I would say it does. And there's a reason that both Max Verstappen and Lando Norris are absolutely insanely good online as well, and it's because they practice a lot. So yeah, the different cars are going to be pose a very different challenge, and it's whether or not Daniel can adapt to that car as quickly as his teammate. What do we think about McLaren next year then? So obviously they've still got the Mercedes engine, and that seems to be equal, the equal highest engine, along with the not Honda for next year. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that. But I think this is a really good chance for Daniel Ricciardo to prove himself. Jump into a car, a fresh new car, with his teammate, who's also in a fresh new car, along with the whole grid, and just see how he can perform. And I think if we can see the Daniel Ricciardo of old, like we did see in Monza, then I think he can be a real threat to, well, wherever they are in the field. If they're at the front in the McLaren car, then I think Ricciardo will be challenging for race wins and possibly a title. But it all just depends on where that car is. But I'm really excited to see whether he can at least stay on the sort of pace over the whole season as Lando Norris, or whether he's still slightly behind, because I think that'll be definitive for him. I think if we go into this new season and he's a long way off Norris again, I think the alarm bells will start ringing for him there. So pretty much like everyone, I absolutely love Daniel Ricciardo. Can't wait to see him in the car next year, and I want to see him do incredibly well. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, incredibly excited for that battle next year. I'm going to pick Norris again over that one, just because of his performance this year and how much he's improved over the seasons as well. So that's certainly with his consistency and qualifying pace. So yeah, very interesting, and thanks for listening to my ramble again, if you have, and yeah, catch you in the next one. Cheers.